how they can retell Snow White to update it a little bit without it coming across as woke feminist nonsense. Simple. Well, first off, you have the king tell Snow White, you're the heir to the throne. I need you to start taking your responsibilities serious. Whereas Snow White, she just wants to goof off and have fun. She's a slacker. She just wants to frolic around in the woods, possibly with her best friend, who happens to be a farm boy, some commoner that the king is unaware of. And you don't have to have it be a romantic relationship. It could be a platonic relationship from Snow White's side. And so this has Snow White being irresponsible. And of course, when the stepmom sits there and does what she does, tries to eliminate Snow White, and then Snow White is forced to flee into the forest or the woods, after the king dies, okay? Because she wants the power. And the only way she can get the power is if she eliminates Snow White as well. Well, then Snow White comes across the 7 dwarves, or the 7 whoever the hell Disney puts in their place. And of course, these are hardworking individuals. And while Snow White is there and she's hiding out there because she knows she can't venture out into the forest or woods or go anywhere because everybody's looking for her. But somehow, some way, those who were once dwarves are able to hide their home. They're able to remain hidden from everybody. Somehow. Magic. So anyway, Snow White is there, and while she's there, she doesn't get along with the dwarves at first. Well, maybe a couple of them, but for the most part, she's lazy, she shirks her responsibility, but then eventually she starts to come around, starts to help out, starts to do some work, and, starts to accept responsibility. And that's part of her character arc. She's an irresponsible person that doesn't want to take any responsibility for anything, and then she learns responsibility, and then she becomes responsible. And then, of course, the huntsman. What does the huntsman fit into this? The huntsman goes out, and the huntsman is able to find Snow White. We can even add elements of, magic to the huntsman. He's a magical tracker or what have you. That's why the queen, the evil stepmom, finds him, hires him, and sends him out to get Snow White. Because he's a magical tracker and he can track anything. So he finds Snow White. And in finding Snow White, he looks at her and, the whole, she's the fairest in the land and all this other stuff. Well, you could keep it that way or you could play on it. But what he does is he looks at her and he goes, this person here, after seeing her responsible, after seeing her, and he sees in her this competent leader. And he sees in her the true leader of the kingdom. And he thinks to himself, no, this is who rightfully deserves to rule. And so either the huntsman can team up with Snow White, or the huntsman could just go, all right, you know what? I'm not going to kill her. I'm going to go on about my merry way. Now, in the retelling of this, the way they got it going on, I wouldn't be surprised if they had Snow White end up fighting and defeating the huntsman in combat. But my way's better. And it fits more in line with the original story. And it's not as though he's like, oh, she's so fair and precious. No, he's like, she is the true leader. I can see the potential in her. And this is somebody who sees the potential in her and the princess and Snow White that nobody saw before, because her entire time being alive, she is just a spoiled brat who is irresponsible. And so then the stepmom goes, all right, I'm going to have to take care of this stuff myself. So she goes out to find Snow White, and she finds Snow White. And, maybe she finds him right after the huntsman finds him, and she just followed the huntsman, and when the huntsman didn't do the job that he was supposed to do, maybe she kills the huntsman. And then, of course, we have to figure out the apple thing. Because at some point, Snow White has to bite the apple, unless you just get rid of that altogether. But at some point, she has to go into that deep sleep. Is it before? Is it after she defeats the witch? The stepmom? Does she defeat the stepmom, or do we stick with the original story and have those who was once dwarves defeat the evil stepmother? Or maybe it's a situation where she works together with those who were once dwarves to defeat the stepmother. And in working with them, it shows her ability as a leader to lead people. And then somehow, someway, she comes underneath the magic spell, and then she gets put into the coma where she cannot be woke up unless it's with true love's kiss, quote unquote, true love's kiss. But then, who's the true love? The farm boy. The farm boy goes up to Snow White, and he's the one that kisses her, not on the lips. You look, have the kiss whoever, okay? It could be on the lips, or it could just be on the forehead like you would kiss a friend. And then that wakes her up. And then you could play with it from there. Is it, oh, Snow White was in love with this person, so that's why their kiss woke them up? Or is it just that person loved Snow White, and that love was so pure that was powerful enough to wake her up? And you can still play with it. Was that romantic love, or was that just a pure platonic love that woke her up? And then you can go from there. Does she marry the farm boy? Does she not marry the farm boy? Does she just be an independent boss queen that sits on the throne by herself? You can go many different directions, and there's no bad way about it in that regard. But that's how you do it. That's how you do that story. Obviously, there are some things that need to be tweaked and looked at and everything, but that's how you do a good retelling of the story. Thank you for listening. Hit that like and subscribe button. Until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.